What's up, guys? You're watching the new episode of the Talk Closer podcast with the big bro Dion. Who we have today?
Man, we have our brother, our mentor, and a Goliath in the sales industry, my brother Johnny Cruz. Brother.
Let's get to this video, guys.
Let's go, baby.
Today is a really good day, a great day for the solar community, especially in New Jersey, Dion, right? Today we have a guy that, me personally, we know them for a lot of years, and we're going to go into details on that. And a person that I admire, a person that always, look up to him, and a person that we always give advice, ask for advice, and always is an open book. Am I right? It's an open book. It's a person that always show him. He's not afraid to show his skills, his tips. He's always being a leader. So who's that person we have today?
We have a titan. We have a titan in the house. My brother Johnny. What's up, brother?
Nice Johnny Cruz.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
How are you, my brother? How's everything?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Chilling.
That's good to know, brother. We for the audience that don't know, we have 4 years, basically almost 4 years of friendship, and also 4 years of friendship in business, which is very difficult to maintain.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to ask you this, tell me a little about your background. Don't spend an hour on it, because I know your history is very long. So just do a little intro. Who are you? How you, where you came from, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So my name's Johnny Cruz. You guys, introduced me.
Your first podcast, by the way. All right. We have we've been there. All right.
Virgin, right?
Yeah. First podcast. Yes, my first podcast. The best way that I could probably, describe myself is I'm a door knocker. I came up in this business knocking doors. Started working back in 2001 for a home security dealer called, at the time it was named EverSafe. And EverSafe was a company that my father worked for. Part of that story is I had left college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a chef, and I always had this entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I love to cook. So
you still do?
I do. I love to cook. I'll have you guys over for dinner one night. But I do love to cook, and it's something that makes me feel good. I love making meals for my family, my friends, people that I care about. It's just a way for me to show, hey, this is welcome to my home. I appreciate you. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Let's break some bread together, Yeah. But I've always had this passion for cooking. And when I was younger, I also had an entrepreneurial spirit. And I thought, I'm a good cook. I grew up in this restaurant business. I want to be a chef and own a restaurant. I gave it a shot. I worked in a restaurant for probably a year and a half. I was working 12 hours a day.
I did another part.
Yeah, that's the good thing. That's the beautiful thing about having a podcast and doing a podcast, because we learn things that people share things they never share.
Yeah.
And doesn't share to people like us. So that's awesome. So continue.
I was working there 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was, at the time, this is probably 2000, 2001, so this is 22, 23, 24 years ago. And I was making $400 a week, and I was working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, 72 hours. And after about a year and a half, I'm like, man, this is I think I made a mistake dropping out of school.
Wow.
I think I made a mistake dropping out of school, and I remember going home and talking to my dad about it. And my father's like, well, why don't you come work for me? And he was a sales manager at this company.
Can you do I know, sorry that I cut you off, but I think so this part, the audience is missing. Who was your dad?
So
how he got here? And just do for 2 minutes, and then you can go back to the
super quick.
story.
So, I'm Latin. I'm Latino. I speak a little bit of Spanish. My girlfriend says I don't really speak any Spanish.
Yeah.
You guys tell me my Spanish is great, but she likes to make fun of me and say that I don't speak much Spanish. But my father's from Uruguay. My mother's from Peru, and they both immigrated to this country. My father's story is really unique, and to sum it up, he walked from Uruguay to essentially Mexico, and from Mexico he got on a plane, went to Miami. From Miami he took a plane to Newark, and literally the next day he had a job laying brick in Orange, New Jersey. Right. So, that's my father's story, and obviously when you hear of someone's story like that, you guys know this just as well as I do. Like, your parents came here, they made a sacrifice to bring you here, and it was for a better life for not only them, but
For their family.
for their family. You know, and it means a lot. You know, like,
Trust
and
me,
I get. Listen, I get
Yeah,
the.
look. Yeah,
I
yeah,
get. I
we
talking
can
about
relate.
this. Yeah, when I talk about this stuff, I get. You know, like, look at
Emotional.
that. It's tough for me sometimes to talk about this stuff just because it means so much, and I've worked, very hard, and I've learned a lot of lessons. You know,
Especially that you're a parent.
yeah,
So
yeah.
So the sacrifice that a parent can do for their kids is literally, like, I'm not a parent yet, but I know for sure that all the little things that my dad and my mom did, and sometimes, like, the older that I get, then there's sometimes like, yo, now I understand why my mom told me to not do this, and I understand why my dad told me, okay, do this instead of this.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, especially those sacrifices. But yeah, parents are amazing. I'll tell you that. But going back to your story that you were saying.
So that's who my father is, and he worked his way up. He's another had a great entrepreneurial spirit. Was never afraid of starting new things, and I watched and witnessed that, like, growing up, and the work ethic and serving tables at night, and working a full-time job and owning a business, and putting me through the Catholic school curriculum, even going to a Catholic high school, and then into college. So they've always provided for me. They've always helped me. They've always been there for me. My parents, my kids, my girlfriend, those are probably my three biggest whys. It's the fire that's underneath me and that keeps me going, and it's the fight that's inside of me, right? So that's who my father is, and he was he got himself into a position where he was a sales manager for this company. He was a leader inside of this company. And I went to him and I asked him, like, I told him I think I messed up. I shouldn't have dropped out of school. And
If you don't mind me asking, what your dad was selling at that time?
ADT home security systems,
Alarms.
alarm systems,
Knocking
alarm
doors
systems.
as well?
Knocking doors as well.
If he definitely, like, if he came from Uruguay, right,
Yeah.
walking, knocking doors, like,
It's like
piece of
nothing.
cake.
Piece of cake. And I remember asking him, like, what is it that I would do? What is it that I would do for you? I mean, you want me working in the office? Should I be an installer? Because my cousin was an installer. And he's like, no, I think you should sell. I think you should get into sales. And I'm like, sales? I'm like, I can't do that. I don't think I can do that. Like, I don't have the personality to do that, because as crazy as it may sound, like, I'm very introverted. Like, I like to keep to myself. Although I am, obviously outgoing and I can speak more times than not, like, I'm to myself, right? But he gave me an opportunity, and he locked me in a room, gave me a piece of paper, told me to memorize the words on it.
Memorize the pitch.
Yeah, memorize the pitch, and I memorized it. And, that day, I'll never forget. I remember the street. I still remember the name of the street. I could show you the two houses. It was Watchung Avenue in West Orange, New Jersey, which is my hometown. And I started knocking, and I knocked 30, 40 doors. Remember, I was making $400 a week, right? That's what I was making. An alarm sale back then, that was a self-gen, was worth $220, okay? I knocked 30, 40 doors. I remember this lady answered. She was in her nursing outfit, and I pitched her. And I'll never forget the last, the last sentence of the pitch was like, if I gave you an ADT home security system, you'd use it, wouldn't you?
And she said yes.
Okay, great. If I gave you an ADT home security system free of charge, you'd use it, wouldn't you?
Of course.
Great. How many doors do you have leading into the house? What's the size of the jamb on the door? Is it a 2 1/4, 3 1/4 door jamb? Oh, let me, that was a transition. That's how I learned to transition into the house. Let me check that. What kind of smoke detectors do you have? Let me check that. That's how I would get into the house. And I sold that deal. I didn't know what I was filling out paperwork-wise. I was on the phone with, I don't even think I had a cell phone back then, honestly. Like, I can't even remember. But I think I used the homeowner's landline, called my dad, and I was like, how do I fill out this paperwork? Who do I make the check out to? Like, he's like, you got into a house? He couldn't believe it. And I'm like, yeah, I got into a house. Oh, okay. Well, long story short, I signed a deal. I leave that house, guys. I mean, that's more than half of my paycheck. I have so much energy and adrenaline, and I walked to Montclair, because the street goes all the way into Montclair. I cross the street. It's now like 9 o'clock at night. I'm walking back on the other side, and I'm like, wow, it's getting towards the end of the day, but what a great day. And I'll never forget, I knocked on this guy's door. He had one of those big like construction vans that said, Mr. Rocco's Home Improvement. I remember like it was yesterday. I knocked on the door. Wife opens the door. She's got a baby, a little kid screaming in the background. Gave the same pitch, gave the same line. She's like, we just moved into this house and we've been wanting that. Yeah, come in. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
that was the same day, right?
Same day. I made more money in 8 hours than I made in 72 hours.
That's crazy.
$440.
72 hours, not even 40 hours in a week.
12 hours a day, 6 days a week. 12 times 6 is 72. Yeah. 72 hours.
That's crazy.
So I had the work ethic. The work ethic was never a question for me. I always had that. That's been ingrained in my body. And now I had like this opportunity to go and make $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 a day. And I'm like, I remember leaving that house, and the money was great. But the thing that I was most excited about, believe it or not, is when you work in a restaurant and you're working in the kitchen, you smell like food. Yeah, I mean, it is embedded into your fingernails. I was so excited that I had like a pair of
your hair.
Yeah, I had a pair of khakis on. I was clean. I was like, man, I can go out right now to Hoboken. I went to Hoboken, partied with my friends that night. It was
super excited.
So excited. So excited.
Even though my man asking on the Lauren, especially at that time, how you got paid? Like you got paid like a following week, a month after? How that works?
I believe back then they were paying us upon funding approval, which would take about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And
so
the job would
after
need
installation, right?
Yeah, after installation.
And what was the average of installation? Like you
How
saw
much
the deal
time?
on Monday, yeah.
Within
From
3
sell to
days.
install.
Within
Okay.
3 days, it was always the goal. I had to collect a $99 check, had to collect their social security number, had to do a credit check. And then they would come and install the system, and then 2 weeks later, I was.
It's kind of like cable.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same.
Exactly, and that's what we tell to all kids or like anybody that come to the company, or in general. Like if you want to make it in life, it's work ethic. Like imagine working. Like there's no secret. How many mentors we have? Many people, successful people like yourself, they have the same story. Those people, they just put in the time.
Yeah.
And it is crazy that everybody now, this time of age, they just want to see, like, they ask you, like, how I can make 6 figures, 7 figures, but I just work really, like, I work less. Like, that's not the question you should be asking. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Now, you went for alarm. You how many years you did alarm?
I was in the alarm business for 14 years.
So you would scale. Can you explain a little bit how you scaled up?
My first full year, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you guys, but my first full year, they came out with a contest. They had, I think Top Gun and Just One More. And one contest was a Rolex. The other contest was $10,000. There was 5,000 reps in the contest across the country. The one contest I placed in third. This is my first full year in sales. Mm-hmm. The first contest I placed third, and the second contest I placed second. So I got a Rolex watch. I had a $10,000.
You still have it?
I do have it.
That's
I do,
nice.
and it's engraved.
Send me a picture later.
I will. It says, sales champion, third place, Johnny Cruz.
Oh, that's
so
awesome. That's a flex, right?
Yeah, a lot of sentimental value in that watch. That watch has been in my life for 23 years.
I love watches.
Yeah.
They last a lifetime. And I always say there's literally 2 things that you are literally in the road to success, which is sales and leadership.
That's true.
Like if you're in sales, you're gonna make money for forever. There's literally you can change industries, you can change states, you can literally move to a different company. But if you're in sales, you're gonna make money forever, and especially if you're a leader.
Yeah.
leaders. In this world, we got to say the truth. In this world, we lack in leadership.
Absolutely.
We live in a world full of people that they don't really want to go to the next level. And actually, I was watching.
They don't want to put the time.
Exactly.
Actually. That's what it is.
It's actually crazy. In 2020, there was more than 40% that quit their job. In 2020. In 2021, there was more than 50%. Actually, I forgot the word what it was, not an epidemic, something like a layout, something like that, where I'm not going to say.
It has to be an epidemic. Everybody was doing the same thing.
It was like around 50% in 2021. People quitting their jobs. And in 2023, it was actually above 65%. And this year is turning to be more than 70% people leaving their jobs because they want to pursue something else and they don't want to work or they don't feel happy. The point that I'm trying to say is we're living in a world where is that nobody's willing to work, nobody's willing to put the hours, and we live in a world that is a lot of people that are becoming lazier and lazier with time and thinking that they deserve it all. Yeah. And it's not like that. People like us are becoming from a different company that English is not our first language, even though for you it's kind of for first language. But for us, and even though in your case that for sure what your dad did in order for you to become the person that you are right now.
Right.
For me, I always put an example to my dad. My dad and my mom and my whole family, we came here basically with nothing, and we were sleeping, basically 5 people in the same room, having basically it all in Dominican Republic. So those two things, sales and leadership, is going to take you to the next level. That's why we always preach sales, solar, and all that stuff, knocking doors and all that. But I have a question for you, though. What do you think, before we transition to the next question, what do you think was your success at that time that made you become like that leadership that you are right now and the leadership that you were at that time too?
I would say it was my work ethic and just a relentless attitude towards never giving up on something I put my mind to. I would absolutely give credit to that as I put my eyesight on something, and if I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Well, I'm gonna pretty much die trying to do it. Or at the minimum, I'm gonna come and say, hey, I can't do it. Here are the reasons why.
I agree.
You said you're gonna do something, you do it.
Yeah.
Us knowing you for all this time, you are a man of your word for sure, and whatever you go after, it is true. So actually, JP asked you a question. It was like at the end, after the 4 years of the competition, what happened? The 4 years of the competition.
So after I won that contest, I was working as a rep for a long time. And
how many years?
Probably 8 years, and I made great money.
How much?
Listen. I've never had an issue. I've never had an issue making money. If I go back and look at,
he's media trained. He's media trained.
Yeah, if I go back and think about my story, I would say I never had an issue making money, but I had challenges and with a downfall in being disciplined in what to do with that money. Yeah. So when I meet young guys like you and other young guys, like the first thing I ask people is like, what are you doing with your money? Where are you parking your money? Where are you putting it? Are you putting it in a car? Oh, it's really not a good idea because it's not gonna grow. It's seed money.
It's gonna go down in value.
It's seed money, and you have to preserve as much of that capital as you can to have a better future tomorrow. So you don't have to keep working like that forever.
5 podcasts ago, we had our financial advisor that he was teaching not only how to make money and how to keep it, and especially like you're saying, to be honest with you, we made a lot of money before too when we were in cable. And we spent a lot of money too.
Yeah.
And
we outspend that money. Imagine making $200,000 to 21 years old. You don't know what you're doing. I went from making $20,000 a year to making $160,000 in less than 12 months. For us, I didn't know how to manage. Thank God we got a great parent, a grandfather that teach us, said, you got to get a credit card. You got to use your credit card, things like that. So I want to ask you a question. So I know you went from 14 years in alarm. You went from the top being a VP, right? In alarm business. You were like, because your story really powerful, and you were in the top of the line when it comes to alarm. But you said one day you said, you know what, I'm gonna stop doing this, and I'm gonna start from zero in solar. I want to know why, and then walk me through how you got into this position
let's
today.
talk about the good part.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look, I burned myself out in the alarm business. I was in it for a very long time. It was a great run. It was a long run, but it was a grueling run. And, you know, flying back and forth to all the different states I was in and all the offices that I was, were under me at that time, it was taxing, and I just needed a break from that business, and I walked away from it. And then a friend of mine recruited me for solar, and he's like, I almost got out of sales, guys. I really almost didn't want to do this anymore. And you know, he's like, hey, I need you to check out this opportunity. And I'm like, I think I'm done with door to door. I don't want to mess with it anymore. You know, it's just, and he got me, listen, I give credit where credit's due. He got me to come in and I met a few of the leaders, and I'm still friends with a lot of these guys. They're very close relationships that I still have. And I was impressed with the way they ran their meeting, and it was very professional. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, they meet a couple times a week. And I started working there, and you know, at that organization, it was one of the bigger solar installers. It was a national solar installation company at the time. They're not around anymore. But inside of the New Jersey and Pennsylvania region, I happened to finish in, you know, first place that first full year in solar for myself too. So it was like it was full circle for me in a weird way, you know, like I felt like I had to learn the business from the scratch, ground level. Yeah. You know, if I can't go out and sell a deal myself, how could I ever ask someone else to go and do that for themselves? You know, for if I was running an office at that time for the office that I ran. So I you know, I'm a big believer in, you know, a leader needs to do what they're asking the people that are following him to do. If you as a leader can't go out and do the things you're asking your people to do, then for me, I have a tough time following that person. Not even though some people can do it, I can't. I can't ask you to do something that I'm not willing to go do myself. If I ask you to clean a toilet bowl, I promise you, I already cleaned it. You know what I mean?
You're supposed to be the first one to clean it up.
Yeah.
But if you're a leader that says clean it up, and you're the one that's making the mess,
that's a dictator. That's not a leader, in my opinion.
Exactly. I'm sorry about that.
So it's just one of the core value of our companies, lead by example. So going back, you came from dropping from college, then doing almost 2 year the restaurant business, hated. Then went to for 14 years for solar, door to door when it comes to alarm. And you were from the bottom rep to the top rep, then to the being a BP, then went to solar. That's like top performer, high, like you say, I don't have a problem making money. And that's like, you can go to any industry, you know how to make money. Then you came to solar, you were the top rep, and then you are now owner of a solar company, one of the biggest company in New Jersey. So
is it?
It has to be. I know for sure.
It has to be.
I know.
Yeah. But before we jump to the main topic of the evening, what was your top 3 tips that will you give for a new rep that they want to start knocking doors so they can go to success? Good question,
so I'll share with you one of the things that I did.
Go ahead.
I would.
Can I write it down?
Yeah, I would count my doors, and for me, I wasn't counting my successes. I was counting my failures. Okay.
Love that.
What does that mean? Every person that told me no, I put a star next to that person's name on my little piece of paper. And at the end of the day, you know, I learned to say, all right, I made $440 today. I got 2 sales, but I had 10 people that told me no. So what did I get paid for every single no? I got paid $44.
That's exactly.
So for me, it was a matter of going out and finding the no's. I had to embrace the negativity. I had to learn to love it. And I learned that trick from I learned that trick from Tom Hopkins. He has a book, I think it's called How to Master the Art of Selling.
The art of selling, yeah.
How to Master the Art of Selling. And he talks about the dollar value in rejection. You have to find the dollar value in rejection, because then if you put a dollar value on that and you're like, hey, for every no that I get, I'm really getting paid $100 or $400.
Yeah.
Well, if someone's telling you, if you correlate a no with $400, how many no's are you going to go out and try to find? I'm going to go out and try to find 100 no's.
Yeah.
You know, because I know that the money's going to come. So
Eventually, yeah.
the money's a byproduct to the action.
That's right. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, because we always say to here in our company that if you really think about it, every door that you knock, if it's worth $8,000 to make an installation, every door that you knock, if you knock 100 doors, it's going to be $800 per door. Now, to be honest with you, I really like what you said about, instead of thinking, okay, I have to knock 100 doors in order for me to make $8,000, but instead of saying, okay, let me see how can I embrace those customers that told me no, so by the time that I get to another door, okay, it's not that only that I know what I'm going to say to the next door, but you're getting better as you go, right? Because I don't know if you remember, JP, when we were going to those customer back in the days, that we were in the car and we said, hey brother, like this customer told me I have to think about it, but I said,
I totally understand you need to think.
But I said I gotta do this, and I said, no, okay, Mr. Customer, I try to push, and then we were going like back and forth on how, like, okay, no, I think this is better if instead of saying I want to explain you, just say I would love to tell you. You know what I mean? Like little keywords that you can say instead of.
Would I ever offend you if I explain you this program?
Exactly.
Something like that.
Changes the words is going to change your mentality when you go to another door, especially sitting down with the homeowner.
There's two things that we always say. That I actually love what you said, because it's kind of similar to what we said. Meaning, like, if I tell you, there's two things we said. Number one, if you need to knock 100 doors to make a sale, which can be equal 10 grand, but let's say $6,000 in solar, that means every door that you knock, you're making $60.
Right.
If I tell you I will pay you $60 for each door that you will knock, how many doors will you knock? Everybody will say $1,000 doors.
Yeah.
So that's how much it would take you to make that same amount of money.
That's it.
And another thing that we said is, like, let me ask you one question. How many red cars did you saw when you were coming here? I know you live far from here. How many red cars did you saw when you were driving from your house to
Because
here?
I wasn't looking for them.
That's exactly. So that's the power of looking for opportunity. If I tell you right now, from here to your house, I will pay you $100 every red car that you see. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna count every red car I can find. Is
And
that you making that deal with me?
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the power of looking for opportunity. That's the power of work ethic. You have to find the opportunity. Does it make sense?
Yeah, because like a regular person is gonna they're gonna be happy with their wings. Like, okay, I want a customer today, but I know for sure this room right here, we're gonna count how many losses that we did. Okay, how can I be better? Because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you don't get better, like, to be honest with you, sometimes I'm sitting down with sales rep, and their closing ratio is 20%. I said, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's really bad. You know, and the only way you're gonna get 20, 30, 40, 50, even to 100% some weeks, you're just getting better every day.
You gotta get better in your skill. I have a question for you, brother. You got a really good question. So if I knew a kid from solar or any door-to-door industry, tell me some resources or tools that you recommend me so I can improve my skills.
Right now?
Anybody, I started.
The one person that I do follow a lot on social media, and I love the content that he puts out, is Taylor McCarthy.
Oh yeah, really good.
Taylor's
really
a beast. Actually, one of the guys on our team mentors him. The guy that I told you was the number one guy in the country. He mentors him, and he's a huge Tom Hopkins guy. I mean, a lot of the lines that he teaches inside of his trainings, it's all Tom Hopkins. Tom Hopkins is the nuts and bolts of selling. I mean, I would just stay home and read Tom Hopkins sales books when I was in my, honestly, from my early 20s to my early 30s, I would just read sales books. I always tell people I wasn't very good. I refused to quit, and I kept practicing. Like one of the quotes that I love is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
That's right.
Like I could you might be more talented than me, but you're not going to outwork me. Right? I would get out early, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning to go knock doors. Why? Because I knew that there'd be people home from 9 to 11 that would answer the door that would never answer it after 11.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we have to tell the truth. People are lazy. Like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah, that's the question.
Like, let's just say that. Let's say the truth. How bad do you want it? Us as a leader, we coach people. We tell them, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm telling you, go, instead of you going to the field at 3 p.m. or 1 p.m., like go 10. Go at 9:30. Spend a little extra time, because I know for sure you may be going to get one extra cell a week.
That's a part-time job.
Exactly. And you know what? We always say this in this podcast, that I'm telling you for sure, if you're working a 40-hour job, you're going to work those 40 hours 100%. If the boss of that company is going to tell, okay, I'll pay you triple if you stay an extra few hours, a lot of people are going to stay there.
A lot of people are going to stay there.
Like it's, for me, that's mind-blowing. And that's what I love about sales, that if you are a really self-driven person, you're going to reach to levels that nobody's going to get there. And let me ask you this. Let's talk about a little bit about EMT.
Okay.
For how long you been there? Tell me like a little experience over there. How you got to work there a little bit, and then the position that you are right now.
So I'm not a big guy like when it comes to titles. I don't. For me, the title never. The titles don't mean anything. I was kind of forced to take a title at a certain point.
Humbly, right? Humbly.
Very humbly. And honestly, I don't even really know if that's really my title, but it's what's next to my name on my email now, and it's Chief Revenue Officer. And really, that's a C-level sales guy, a C-level finance guy, somebody that goes out and focuses on business development, bringing in new teams and just taking the company to that next level in revenue. But I've never been a big title guy. But I started in EMT January of 2021. Yeah, January of 2021 is when I started there. It was a small shop. I want to say they did the year before I got there, they did $5 million in revenue. We got there, year one, we did, we said we were going to do 15, we didn't hit 15 million. We actually hit 25 million. Year two, we hit 50 million. Year three, we're at 65. This is a weird year in solar, as you guys, know. There's a lot of pressure on our industry right now. We'll probably finish 65, 70, maybe a little bit more. But I never dreamed that we were gonna hit these numbers. It just kind of happened because we were working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's been an interesting ride is probably the best way that I could tell you guys.
So you basically 10x a business in 3 years. A little bit more than that, 12x.
So
That's incredible.
Let's stop being humble right now. All right, we have a guy that he grew a company to a $70 million company in 3 years. You gotta give yourself some credit, my brother. I know.
It's a team effort, right?
It's absolutely a team effort. I'm not doing this without, I'm no way I'm doing this without the people on our team. And we have some super talented people on the marketing side, on the sales side. We've brought in some incredible leaders. The operations side, we've brought in, another handful of incredible leadership. And the business is running operationally better than it ever has. And we're just, I'm thankful. I'm grateful.
We can agree with the last part that you said.
Yeah, I'm thankful and grateful, and looking forward to pushing the envelope to the future, and seeing, how much better can we get?
That's actually my next question. Like, What's the future for you at ENT in the next 5 years?
That's a great question.
Are you trying to expand another market? You want to grow this here? What do you want to do?
I would love to get into Florida. I mean, that's my selfish
Where you
goal.
want to move, right?
My mentors are down there.
You love the water.
I love the water. I love the water. It brings me a sense of peace and calmness. And my mentors are down there, you know, people that I look up to, that I've worked for in the past, that I still have a great relationship with. And it's important for me to get down there and spend time with, you know, the people that I care about and help mold me into, you know, who I am today. You know, I'm just here doing the work, you know. I listen to as many people as I can and just.
How much? 200 million?
How much you want to grow the? We're gonna know numbers.
Yeah, no, I just say 300.
Double, triple.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Like I told you guys, the goal for me was never to grow EMT to where it is today. It was more of growing a business that could be here for a long time.
That's true.
And whatever decisions need to be made to allow for that to happen, whether it's a sacrifice, whether it's an investment, whether I got to take a step back, a step forward, I have to be more involved, less involved. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. The EMT, you know, it means something to me. Being a part of that, the story behind it, the fights that we've been through to get to where we are today, it's not been easy, but it's been fun. You know, it's been fun. There's a lot of ups and downs, especially, you know, the solar coaster today is as
level.
tumultuous as it possibly has ever been, you know.
But the future is bright.
The future's bright.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The future is bright. I can feel it, especially having the right partnership. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. We have 3 people here, literally 3 people here that changed their life completely in 3 years. If you really think about it, we changed our life dramatically in 3 years. This is possible. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. You can have 1 year that can literally change your life forever, and not only your life, your family life.
That's the best thing.
Yeah, for me, that's more powerful for all of us. I think so. We can all agree. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you 3 things so you can change your life, and we can wrap up this meeting. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'll
shoot
give.
Shoot
you know what? Let's give one each other. One advice so you can change your life in 3 years.
Let's go.
You go first.
I'll go first.
You want me to go first? I get it.
Go ahead. I want to say one, but I have like 3 in my head.
I say 4. This: just do more. Just literally, just do more. Just knock another door. Just put another hour. Just work another day, and you get the result. Like, discipline is not what you did yesterday. It's what you do today. If you want to create your future for your wife, for your kids, for your family, just do more. That's one tip. I'm going to make it simple. Do more.
What about you, brother?
No, you go second. I'm going to go last.
Come on.
I'm going to say dream bigger. For sure. Dream bigger, because we all came here with nothing. And I'm telling you right now, if we all here knew that we were going to go to these levels, how hard we will go before. We will be here probably like a few years prior to this, and we'll be in a higher level. We will be in Florida right now.
Florida.
Keep dreaming, baby.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you dream, like I always say, dream bigger, because dreams, they do come to reality.
When you do more.
By the way.
Yeah.
How about you?
Last but not least.
So I would probably say, and I shared this with your team in the meeting earlier today, and it kind of goes back to something else I just said before, but do what you say you're going to do. And at the end of the day, that's really a choice. You know, so if you are wanting to choose success, choose it, and understand that there's certain behaviors that need to happen in order for you to reach that pinnacle of success. And it's different for everybody, right? But everything boils down to choices. Are you making the right choice for yourself today, for your family, for your future, for your kids, for your loved ones, for your mother, for your father? Are you making the choices that make not only yourself proud, but the rest of your family proud, you know?
Man, I love
powerful.
this story. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like JP said, I love podcasts. I'm not gonna lie to you. We find a new love. Why?
Yeah, we
Because
do.
somehow, in some way, we can connect with people that, even though we've been knowing each other for 4 years, basically, we starting to know things that that we never heard before, and we can connect in a different way. And especially moving forward, that we can talk different topics about your dad and about yourself. And I'm really grateful for you to be here, my brother.
I appreciate you
Thank
guys
you for your
having me.
time.
We're really
Thank you.
looking forward
Appreciate
for this.
it.
We're
You
really
like
looking
killer.
forward for this partnership. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I can say thank you for being our friend. For really, like, I know we call you a lot. You call us a lot.
Whatever
It's
you guys
It's
need.
never be like, okay, I want to charge you $1,000 for telling you this. It's always been transparency and always being like a gentleman. I really appreciate it. Let's blow this shit up.
Let's blow it up.
Let's win together.
Let's win together. Let's make a ton of money, and more importantly, let's change salespeople lives
Homeowner.
and customers' lives too. Stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in for the Top Closer podcast with the B Bros. See you in the next episode, baby. Let's go. Win with us
Or watch us win.
Let's go.